Okay, so let's jump into mini section 2 of land cover. And in this case, it's more than just land cover, it's the ecosystems of Texas. All right, so I have my project open, so I'm going to head over to Pro. Doesn't work with the screen recorder. Okay, so this is where we left off. And we are currently looking at ecosystems level 3. Okay, let's turn, and you can see just by these light gray outlines how many and how large the ecosystems are at this level. Okay, let's turn that off. And now you can see this is the most refined ecosystem definition that we have available. And I think for the purposes of this project, this is going to be a little too much data. There's certainly going to be a extremely long and detailed legend. And so let's remove this one, and we're just going to work with level 3. So let's right click here and remove. And what's nice is you have that data set here for you in your Texas NRM data. Okay, so let's turn on ecosystem 3 again. All right. And now we want to decide how are we going to symbolize our data. Okay, how are we going to depict it? But really, what I like to do first, anytime I get a new data set, is go to the attribute field. So right click and go to attribute field, and let's see what data is embedded in this geography. Remember, GIS stands for geographic, so there's your geography, information, and here's all your information. Okay, and then system, and that's the computer software system that manages these two things. Okay, so we have the name, all right, and sometimes that'll be repeated, and then there's these codes that they use. Okay, and it looks like they also have the level 1 and level 2 ecosystem definitions in here. Okay, so if you wanted to make a map of the level 1 systems or the 2 ecosystems, you could do that as well. Okay, we're going to stick to level 3. All right, and let's go to symbology by right clicking on our layer and heading down to symbology here. All right, now I want to show you how you can create these other maps, because it's very easy, and it's important that you understand how to do this, so you don't, because the EPA actually did not have data sets for 1 and 2, okay, and that's because they were embedded in here. So the first thing you're going to want to do, since we have multiple different features in here, okay, that represent different ecosystems, is you're going to want to change this to unique values. Okay, and see, these icons give you can be very helpful. The single symbol is what we're currently working with, and that's what we are depicting here, and of course that's not useful for what we're doing. We want these unique values. Okay, so this is a bit odd. All right, when you turn on unique values, it jumps over to the level 3 code, but you have to add all of the values. Okay, and the reason they do this is sometimes you could have thousands of values, and it's going to tell you, hey, are you sure you want to do this? And you probably don't if there's over 100 or 200 values. Okay, So what we would do here is simply choose add all values, okay? And then it turns it into this, each feature gets its own unique value, okay? So right now, of course, we're working with a really awful color scheme, but don't worry about that. Now, it's as simple as this. If you want to make the level 1 ecosystems, you could just come down here to, let's go to, let's see, where would that be? NA. All right. And there you go, okay? And so all of this red would be one level 1 ecosystem, okay? And then we can get rid of all the other values. Let's format this by clicking on it. And we want to make that value empty, okay? So you would just choose no color for the outline, or for the actual color, and then no color for the outline as well, okay? And just for good measure, let's knock that down. Okay, now let's go back to our primary symbology pane, and let's go to level 2 code, okay? Now these are your level 2 ecosystems, so slightly more refined, okay? And now let's go to our level 3, okay? That's the one we wanted to use, and let's use this USL3 name. Okay, so this is where we want to be, but I just want to show you that you can create maps out of any one of these columns, almost any one of these columns in your attribute table. All right, let's close out of the attribute table. Let's do a Control S. Okay, sometimes you need to come up here and just hit save. All right, now, if you remember, I said the EPA included a layer symbology file, okay, because they have standard colors for all of these different ecosystems, and we want to use those, all right? So how do we do that? In our primary symbology pane, okay, that's what this is, we come up to this hamburger icon, all right, and we choose import symbology. Okay, so our symbology layer is the one we downloaded from the EPA site. We're going to hit browse. Okay, come up here to project and open up your folders. There's your project. You may have to do it again. And then remember, we put those in 08 styles. Okay, and then just click on this level 3 dot layer and click OK. And then it's going to find the value in the feature class to match with the value in the symbology field, okay? So just hit run, it'll be fine. And boom. So these are the colors that they want us to use, and that's great. You know, we don't have to worry about it. And they look rather appropriate, okay? This is, you know, more of the piney woods of East Texas. This is the coast, all right? And then this is where there's a lot of clay and dark soils. This is the Llano Estacado, a very semi-arid climate, okay? So the colors are somewhat suitable, all right? Now, let's look at how we want to name these, okay? And in order to get to this point, we're going to switch over to our layout, okay? So let's come over. We can actually close out of this geoprocessing pane, okay? And come over to your catalog. The tab should be down here at the bottom, all right? And let's close that up. Go to layouts, and let's double click on our ecosystem layout. Okay, so while that's loading, let's unlock our Texas base, okay? And let's double click on the map frame. That's what this icon is, okay? So the one with the white border around it dictates what's going on with this sheet of paper. And of course, we import a map into this sheet of paper, and that's represented here, okay? That's your map icon, just like it is up here. And this is the entire layout icon, which controls, I'm sorry, this doesn't control the layout as much as it controls the map frame, what the scale is, okay, if we had to rotate it at all, those kind of things. And then this icon up here controls the sheet of paper. So if you double clicked on this one, you could change the size of your sheet of paper, the name, okay. But here's the one where you really want to pay attention to. So if you double click on your map frame, okay, I always like to start at the end, and all of these numbers are set right. Okay, the map frame goes all the way to the edge. And we're gonna leave that alone. And under display options, everything is good. And then the big thing here is that, and let's just call this map frame. I shouldn't have called it Texas base in the beginning. But instead of our map frame pulling in our Texas base map, we wanted to pull in the ecosystem map. Okay. And since we set it up with this template, everything is coming in at the exact same size and location. Okay, so far so good. All right, now let's do a little bit of visual planning. Okay, we're gonna have a legend, and it doesn't look like it needs to be that big, so I think we can fit that over here. All right, and then for our final maps, we're gonna need a title, but we are not gonna worry about that now, okay? So what I'd like you to do is, let's come up here to insert, and we're just going to choose legend, all right? And legend 1, all right? And then we just draw out that box, okay? So that looks good, okay? There's nothing else that we need in here except the ecosystems. So let's shift and select on all of these layers, and then you can hold down control if you need to jump over one while maintaining the selection, and you can select that guy and then right click and choose remove. Okay, now let's format our legend by double clicking on it. Okay, and then we're gonna come to this pane, all right, and we're gonna uncheck show the title. We don't need that. And we are gonna go to show properties. And that's really, this can be a very complicated pane to work with. It can be a pain, okay? But really a lot of the work can be done here, where you just click on show properties, okay? And if we zoom in, which we want to do so we can see what we're looking at, we don't need that layer name or the heading, okay? And that's going to be understood when we create our title. And of course, we do need the labels and descriptions, okay? That's the text here. All right, now let's zoom out, and we've got plenty of space, and that's a bit small. So let's double the size of our patches while keeping the ratio. So type in 48 and then just hit tab, and type in 24 and hit tab. Okay, so that looks good. And I would like to keep these in one column. So we'll see how to do that in a second, but let's open up this legend item groups, and we definitely want to uncheck all other values. Okay, now let's keep this in a single column. That's where that little guy was hiding. All right, that's pretty good. Now, I definitely don't like the way the text is symbolized here. Okay, so what I would like to do is come up to text symbol. All right, and I'm gonna change this to Arial. All right, and I want to make that a 16. Oh wow, so it already was pretty good size. Remember, 12 point is the size of a letter in a typical textbook. Okay, 11 point would be a newspaper. 10 point is a very condensed book, and anything under 8 point, a lot of people my age can't read it. Okay, so let's put 18 point, and it looks like I may have to draw this out down a little more. Okay, because anytime you see these 3 lines, it means something is missing, but we'll figure that out. Okay, so text case, all of that is fine. All right, and now we're going to come up to paragraph, and let's set this. Thing looks good here. Okay, let's go back over here to the text case position. See, they just got a lot. We certainly don't need to rotate, shadow, call out, none of that. Okay, so let's come over here to legend items. Even I can get a little lost in here sometimes. All right. So let's go back to the main pane. Okay. And this looks good. All right. So let's go to legend arrangement options. All right, and we don't want this word wrapping. There we go. Okay, I don't want to wrap the words. I wanted them to just come right on out. And we need these numbers because these descriptions are too long to use as labels. Okay, it's going to get messy in and around here with these skinnier ecosystems. So we're just going to use the numbers. Okay. But they're spaced fairly tightly together. So let's open up the spacing. And under the classes, okay, these are your classes here. It's at 10 points. So let's just make that, it's at 5 points. Let's make that 10 and hit tab. And that looks good. Now, if I zoom all the way out, I'm going to come up here to layout. Okay, now that's a nice legend to go with our map. You know, we may even put it, you know, somewhere like this. Okay, because we want to put our credits down there. Okay. Now, let's add the layers of the water bodies, as I said we would do in the first mini section, and I also want to add the contours. Okay, so we're going to go to catalog, and you can do that right here in the layout pane and open up your database. Okay, and we're going to use the Texas water body. Okay, so that's going to go above our ecosystems. Okay. And what we're going to do, remember we talked about this in symbology. We can right click on here. Okay. And we can go to the symbology pane. And we're just going to format these all as a single symbol. And we're going to click on that symbol. We're going to take off that, well, let's make that outline color to beef it up a bit. Let's keep using that larkspur blue that we did before. And we're going to do that here as well. Okay. So that's all going to come in slowly but surely. And let's go back to the main symbology pane, okay? And that's going to look pretty good. All right, now back to the catalog. And we are going to go to Texas Poly Contours. Remember, you made these before. And we are going to put those right above the ecosystems, okay? And once again, let's go to our symbology. And we're starting off with a single symbol, which is, of course, what we want. We just don't want it filled in, okay? So let's click on that symbol to format it. And we don't want any fill color, so click on that, no color. And then this outline color, we don't want this to be so much of a topography map or an elevation map. So let's change this to a 0.35, okay? And we're gonna keep it for now. This is at a lighter gray color. It's not pure black, and we may go there, but let's just leave it right about 60% for now. Okay, now shift select both of these layers, and we're gonna come up to feature layer, and for the layer blend, we will choose multiply. Okay, now that didn't look like it did too much because we really don't have anything underneath our ecosystems. And that's what we're gonna do in the final mini section. Is now that we have all of our data set, okay, we are going to put some base layers underneath our ecosystems and use those really great blending modes to make everything pop, okay? And then I am going to go through adding a title to the map because I want to show you what your final maps will need to look like for the midterm project. Okay, so that'll be in the final mini section for this lab.